Let's go, let's go, let's go. Another one of these episodes. What's going on? Are you going to actually lead us in this conversation? Seems like we're at church.
Well, since Lawrence said he had the most energy, why don't you lead us then?
What
I
don't want to oppress
Black
women.
men,
That's not what I ain't trying to oppress women,
Black
right?
men lead us.
Oh, okay, all right.
Lead
All the black
us.
men was like, okay, let's do this, guys. Let's do this. All right. Yet again, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Financial Griot, where we talk about money, but most importantly, we talk about life and how to live a better life with what we have and the cards that we're dealt. It's about being resourceful. It's about being understanding. It's also about growing beyond just the money into a little bit something better, into our purpose, right? Yeah, that's the purpose. As such, I am Lawrence Delva Gonzalez, otherwise known as the neighborhood finance guy on the interwebs, and my wife is actually vacuuming. And she's supposed to go to Trader Joe's, but either way, I'm gonna pass it over to my lovely co-host here. One is actually named Lovely, so do not be confused. And the other one's just Atlanta. So yeah, I'll pass it over.
Just Atlanta, sir. Put some respect on my name. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of TFG, better known as the Financial Griot. I am third of the co-hosts. My name is Atlanta, and we are here today. I'm trying to get as hyped and energetic as one of my co-hosts, Lawrence, but it's been quite a week, quite a day. But I'm so happy you guys are tuning in to another episode. Love it.
Hey, everyone. Hope you guys are having a good week. If I sound like a chipmunk, just deal with it for this week. It's been a long 2-3 weeks here.
It's just one of those days, man. Like it's a lot.
How is it a lot? Like
lot.
Today is a beautiful day. The sun is out.
It
is technically in spring. The weather is not as cold, so I don't know what Lovely talking about. This is actually kind of nice. Is it raining up there?
The weather, it's nice.
Okay.
Actually, the weather is actually not nice. It's actually very gloomy today, by the way.
Gloomy.
There is no sun. It's a bit gloomy, overcast going on. Just a lot. Just dealing with a lot. Like
the Boston weather out here is different. DC out here looking nice.
No, not today. We had nice weather a few days ago. It's just today there's an overcast.
I'm not in Florida today, but the weather here it's pretty okay. It says 36, but it's mostly sunny.
Where you at? Where you at? Let the people know where you at. Where you be at? Never mind. The reason that you're getting a little weird because it's probably your boyfriend thing, ain't it? Yeah, you get flown out. I knew it. This is guys always know that when women don't answer, just know you know the answer. All right, just follow it up.
How are you, Lawrence?
I am doing amazing. Is as for everybody, it's always a trying year or trying day or trying month, but I was trying to think of the positive and start the next day anew. And that's what I've been doing all day today. I woke up, knock out some cleaning, did some dishes, threw out the trash, whatnot. And then I went running. And now I'm back to record with you peoples and really kind of like settling into, I need to write I need to work on a PowerPoint, write 3 articles, work on some Canva posts. I got a lot to do today. It's a lot. And I'm getting some clientele. So I'm feeling really good about myself, feeling really hyped.
You need to pass some of that energy over to me because after that long delayed flight, I was explaining to Lovely before you jumped on, is they were canceling flight left and right yesterday before I left Florida. And then when we finally got on the plane, we were stuck on the runway for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours. There were so many planes ahead of us. And so my flight should have been arrival here at 6:30. I actually got here close to 9 o'clock. So
when I was coming from Florida, it was the same thing. Something is going on because it was like they were saying that it was weather, but there was not one lick of rain. There was planes coming in. It was like they were saying this thing, and I'm like, something is misinformation because in some level of instances, this has been going on, and they're just using these other terms because certain terms they use, and you don't get any credits, like if it's a weather-related issue. So I think they're just using the terms that they need to, but the planes were down. We were on the tarmac for 2 hours. And it was just like, I've just been hearing that report like JetBlue, Delta, and I gotta go back to Florida this week coming up as well. So it's just like, hopefully they don't cancel it. Hopefully, I'm just putting mentally in my mind, you just might be on the tarmac for a couple hours. You never know.
Oh, you
So I
just
don't know what's
reminded
going
me. It's happening the same thing over here, but I think that has everything to do with the temperament and the economy of the world right now, if there is such a term as the economy of the world. But the way that everything is kind of being framed because of the high inflations of 8.5%, which is the highest it's been since 40 years ago, 1980s. And it's actually enduring for a very long time. And I don't think we've seen the middle point of it just yet. On top of that, gas prices are up, so therefore flights are, more expensive. So, airplane or airline carriers and such are trying to figure out a way to, figure this situation out, because people are canceling flights. People are not, booking flights as much as they used to. And then you have a lot of people doing the whole great resignation, job hops, and also what we call those things, the unions, their airline unions. So you have a lot going on.
Unionizing.
They've been unionized. They've already been unionized. They're just like, now it's like people just don't want to show up.
Newer markets with the Amazon, you have Starbucks that are doing it now. So there's other markets that wasn't unionized before are now becoming more in the front runner, I guess. But also, I was talking to Lovely about this, and it may be a part of these moving parts when it comes to these planes and airlines is. I've been following about the 5G rollout, and the airline companies are actually suing the State Department about the rollout because they're saying that it's going to interfere with the air control traffic that's going on. So in protest, like you mentioned about temperament, in protest, they're saying that many of the staff are jumping ship, retiring early, or they're just not calling in at all. Pilots, there are already a low shortage of pilots as we speak. So there's another part to there as well. But I felt bad for some people like rushing to get to the airport just to find out your plane is canceled. One person said he had like a important trip to get to, and it was a lot going on. But like, as you mentioned, look on the positive side. I made it here safely, made it to my destination very safely. I got to see someone, and I'm just here. I'm happy. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to cost people a lot more money, especially in this travel season coming up in the summertime. It's getting expensive. Travel itself, I forget the details, but I know that the airlines are probably up a good at least over 7%. I know the car rental company, I guess prices are up 11% over last year. So prices are going up on top of the gas prices going up as well. I'm actually going to pull up the numbers, but ultimately, this is going to get
expensive.
It's about
the
to be
trip to Florida to Boston this week was almost $900 one way.
That's a nonstop flight. How is that expensive?
$900?
No. I'm not saying $900 not expensive. I'm saying like it's a nonstop flight. Last time I was there in January, my flight was like $200 some.
I don't know if it's because it's spring break in Florida, but it was like one way because I was trying to go down.
I had a round trip.
No, I'm saying that I was trying to go, and I've literally the cheapest one that I saw for this week was like $789, and that included a stop on a typical.
That's ridiculous.
So next week they're starting to go down again, but then there's weird because it's like I think in May the tickets are like $70 or something or $80. So I'm like, what the heck is going on in April in Florida that it's that expensive? And so I was just like, oh, okay, can't be at the hospital anyways. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get these tests together and see if I can get clearance. But I was just like, oh wow, that's interesting.
That's why I'm like, that's expensive. I was just there. How is that $900?
Welcome. Everything's shifting. Wow. And I think that's the thing about life is that everything shifts. There's ups and downs and there's ebb and flows. And we just have to be more prepared for them as they take place. But that's just kind of like, the graph you never see a graph really that just goes straight up. It's always like pew, up, down, pew, 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 pew. You kind of
that's a good analogy. You never notice it, right? The grass.
Yeah, it like that when it grows. It's typically, it's even when you talk about growth across the board, like biz development, like even if you're doing it for any company, there's quarters that are typically better performing than others, and you kind of have to start knowing your numbers really well. And I think like the average person, sometimes it does get a little difficult to want to see those things because you're like, oh crap, but everybody's feeling it in some type of way. But I think there is a level of escapism that we do as a society. So even though that's happening, people are still doing things that, seemingly to keep their normalcy, but then things are not necessarily fun. So as a society, like what gas is like 4 something, 5 something in different locations. Certain places in Cali, it's 6 something. Everything is going up in some level of inflation or percentage. And then the jobs are like, okay, we need to tighten the grip because we can't be giving raises out of the wahoo because the system is not balanced. So.
And people are jumping ship.
Yeah, people are jumping ship like crazy. Like a lot of teachers are actually, a lot of teachers are transitioning to tech. A lot. Our educational system and childcare system right now is not good at all, because some of the best teachers, they're like, why struggle making $40,000 to $60,000 a year when I could go at a tech company and start at 90 a year and be remote and not have to deal with your beautiful children as they were.
Nah, bring that heat. You
That's exactly.
Wait, before you get in that heat about the children, I did want to kind of tell the people, hey man, this is where the inflation lies for the last 12 months. I don't know if you guys want that data. That data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So gasoline is up 48%. 48%. That's insanity.
With Costco membership. Executive membership, yeah.
Maybe you look that up. Yeah, with Costco membership. How much is that membership per year? Do you know it?
It's like $89, $90.
I don't even know how it works. How did you get some discounts on the gas, or you just kind of just get free gas?
Yeah, you got
you get a
station. You get their stations typically are less.
Well, so that's why I be seeing the line. I be seeing the line out there.
Yeah,
so used
that's
cars.
Why the line.
It says used vehicles right now is up 35%. Hotel rooms 25%. Airfare is 23.6%. Rental cars is up 23.4%. So you ain't messing around. Transportation 22.5%. Furniture for some reason is almost 16%. Household energy, because people are staying home more because they can't afford everything. So that's going to always naturally go up. So that's 15%. New vehicles 13%. You're probably better off buying a new vehicle. It's kind of weird. Food at home is 10%. Overall inflation is 8.5%. Appliances 8%. Food at restaurants up 7%. I think that's a lie. Every time that I go to the restaurant, they add a little bit more on the side.
And places that wasn't even offering gratuity or placing gratuity.
Oh yeah, they adding an automatic gratuity on that sucker. Like automatic. They ain't messing around with y'all. Pets and products are up 7%. So I know that's going to affect Atlanta's pockets out there with Bruno living a good life.
Yeah, I see it already. Yeah.
Like you're going to have to cut that guy back. Clothing 7%, housing 6%, personal care 5%, and it kind of goes down. Toys even up 2%. I don't know. Just give the kid cardboard at that point. Just keep it moving. Save the money.
Dollar Tree still got some cool toys. I don't care what y'all say.
Go back to the rant about the kids now, Lovely. I know you don't like the kids.
No, she was saying teachers and tech. There's
I love children. What? This isn't a person.
There's a place in TikTok. There's a place in TikTok, Lovely, where teachers are giving advice of how they transition from the education field.
Yeah, it's going
tech.
wild.
Yeah.
People literally, there's this one girl, that's all she does is help teachers get into tech. Like she quit her job at like TikTok. Actually, she was making like, I think her base salary was $150K with bonuses and everything, almost $200,000, and she quit TikTok to be able to help people. And she ain't dumb, so I don't think she's quitting her job because she's making $2.99. So she's charging the teachers, I don't know, $1,000, maybe $2,000 a pop, and she's helping them like rewrite their resume, do their interview stuff, and they're transitioning, and they don't mind because they're doubling and tripling their salary. So I don't think we realize like how much this is in fact affecting the educational system in the long run. Like the hospitals are understaffed. Like I've been talking to the nurses and the doctors, and they're just stressed. They're stressed. Like I've spoke to a nurse, she's like, "Oh, this is not even my floor. I don't even know," and that's kind of worrisome when you have a loved one in the hospital because you're looking at them like, okay, but it's just everything is being impacted in so many different levels. And we've been talking about this, right? We knew that after COVID that it would show a lot of change in society. It was going to impact, but I think also having the war that's going on between Russia and Ukraine, that literally is catapulting and moving things a little bit expeditiously too, because those prices have increased and trickled down to affect everything. And so we were already, remember, the supply chain was already in debacle pre-war. Like you started to kind of see, like they were saying, like you can only get one box of chicken at BJ's and one thing of oil at BJ's. And it started to be these small signs that you would see, and you're like, okay, something is completely a bit different with our shopping experience. Like I went to Whole Foods and they only had like this one little bag of red peppers. I'm like, where are the peppers? And they're like, yeah, we've been trying to get a shipment in. It's been hard. So it's like these small things that if you're not paying attention, you think, oh, okay, well, yeah, okay, that happens. No, shortage. That's what's happening. Shortage. Also, the things that are in the store, we're going to add a little bit more money because we're short already. And so that was already happening pre-war. And then to add a fuel to a president that is not necessarily the most aggressive, and Biden.
Well, hey, don't come after my boy Biden.
I'm not coming at Biden like that.
Extended the student loan, hey, that's my boy. Don't do
he
that.
Didn't pay for it though.
He didn't pay for it like he said he was.
Hey, he never said he was. He was lying about that. Let's be real.
See, but that's what I'm saying. If he can't never say it and be lying. So he had to say it and lied.
No, I know he said it and he was lying about it. So let's move on. He never canceled that sucker. I'm happy that he extended it.
Now I know that we all knew. I think we talked about this, that it was never going to happen, that he was going to cancel it. But nonetheless, there was these promises, and so people are, everybody's tight. But the question becomes, you keep extending it. People are like saying, "Oh, you can extend it, you can cancel it." Because y'all can go without these payments, then y'all can keep going without them for the next 20, 50 years until we die as a generation. So
that's a good point of topic, because that's not how it's working, because we are still.
No, we know that's not how it works, but that's the
twist. Right? The twist. No. The twist is that if we pay for it or cancel it, that it's going to be a problem. But this actual forbearance that we've been going through is actually costing us, the taxpayers, all of us together. So it's not just like these things are just not these like auxiliary binary effects. This thing having effects on all of us all of the time. And that's why you're seeing higher prices all across the board, because we cannot actually, one, keep up with this forbearance, and two, also cancel student loans. We can't do either of those things, at least not for the long term. He's merely doing that, and that's just my speculation, to kind of keep, Democrats want to stay in power, so therefore that's what they do. Everybody plays the game. Republicans do the same. So in moments like this, they give you the little carrot so you can be happy with them, at least for the moment. But it hasn't been working.
For the moment, and then they're going to have to rip the rug under our asses.
Oh, they don't even care. That rug's going to be ripped no matter what, because a recession is coming. No matter how we frame it, and not how we get there, the recession will hit. And I think it's just, I rather kind of go through it now than later, right? It's like, instead of trying to extend it and try to slow it down, because it's going to happen anyways, may as well let it happen so we could actually be on the other side faster. Maybe that's just the way I take my ideas.
Honestly, I feel like it's a recession now. It's like, maybe it's not the way that we thought it would be, but there's a lot of parts so that we're...
Well, there's pre-reception. So there's like the pre, the actual, the post. So it's like a gradual hit you in the face, uppercut you, pow, pow, pow. Got to figure out what's going on. I think there's something to be said, though, about how exactly what Lawrence mentioned is that these things impact us whether we are aware of them or not, right? Like whether you know that, hey, because this money is not being sent to the government, right? Like this is money that they do things. So can you imagine there's maybe millions of people that owe billions of dollars. And if everybody was giving $1 in payments, and we know that's not the case. Lawrence had almost a $700, $800 payment a month, right? Right, Lawrence? I'm not making that up.
That would be nice. It's actually up to $1,000 per month.
Okay,
so I'm
so
waiting
it's
for that to hit me across the face.
Yeah, so let's say so $1,000. So that's one person. My payments were at $300, I believe. So you're talking about this two of us already $1,300 for the month. And in Atlanta, maybe you have another 100 and something or 200. So that's $1,500.
Like
200. So we're about $1,500 on this three-way podcast. And for the year, that's over almost 18,000, if not more. And so that's three of us. Millions of people have student loans. So all that money is not being flooded into the system anymore, right? And so there are people that were in forbearance where they were like, well, you don't want to pay us. We're going to take this money from your check. We're going to take it from your refund. We're going to do whatever we need to do to get this money from you. And I believe that he did include that they would essentially be able to not be in forbearance anymore and get like a reset without it affecting like their credit or pretty much going back and saying, hey, you're no longer in forbearance, you have a fresh start. Now, if you stop paying again, you can be in forbearance. So that's the only thing that I can say that was a good thing for people that were already, in trouble. But nonetheless, this is money that's also not being circulated in the system, and it's going to impact us in multiple ways. But I know that the minute he doesn't extend it, there's going to be an uproar, at least for a week.
No, it's gonna happen no matter what.
Polls already down.
I'm gonna tell you this. Like,
his polls are down because I think, what is he at, 40%?
No, he's like late.
38.
Oh my God, that's so nice. That is
down.
such a beautiful number. Congratulations, President.
Hey, you sounded like for the other side. Oh, I said what I said, but I did want to say this. Because there was a report that the Department of Education dropped recently about the pause of the student loan repayment and how much it's costing the government. And by far, they found that it's costing the government nearly $100 billion. So it's $98.4 billion so far. Like, this pause is not, because the thing is that people don't forget that we took on, or the government back during Obama-Biden administration, decided to try to help out student loan borrowers by, incorporating Fannie Mae and Freddie Mae and Sally Mac. Who knows? I forget the names. Sally Mae or whatever. Those people, they incorporated all of that under the government reform. And they said, you know what? We're going to take this on. We're going to keep interest rates at this low amount. And because of it, it signals to the colleges to just be like, oh, all right, it's carte blanche in the game. If they're paying for everything and they're not really looking at the risk behind everything, it's not for us to tell them. We tried, but ultimately this is what they want to do. And that's
so you're saying it's the government fault.
Yes, it actually is.
Go ahead and pay for our loans. Yeah, they should go ahead and pay for our loans. More of a better reason for him to cancel the loan.
Atlanta. It is the government fault, but we are also the government. That's what people don't get.
Nah. I'm not trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear it.
Do we get paid like we
exactly. Every time you drive on the road, where that comes from? That's government money right there. That's money that you paid in. That's you as a taxpayer. You're the one that is the government. The government is not this external thing that exists in the ether of the world. It's people.
They get paid like they do.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, obviously. The Senate is completely different. They carte blanche. They pay themselves. That's one of those little secrets. Like, they give themselves raises. They pay themselves. And even when they do the whole, like, I guess when they do it, I forget what the name of it, when they just stop paying the government or they go into this lapse of funding, they actually still get paid. Senators never stop getting paid.
No, ever.
It's a brilliant job. Like, you never stop getting paid. And even after they leave, get this. They still get paid.
Still getting paid. Yeah.
Yo, how? Until they die.
Until they die.
Until whoever dies.
A semester.
Oh yeah, until whoever dies. I think name a senator. Until they die, we're gonna be paying them. That's what we're gonna be doing for the rest of their lives. We're paying them. Name the senator that left. We're still paying them. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, so you mean to tell me we allow these people to, one, give themselves raises and they don't do a good job, and two, we also allow them to kind of get paid even after they're multi-millionaires multiple times over.
Yep. And they get to invest and stuff.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, wow. Y'all some wild folks. Like some wild folks. Yeah, we say all this stuff in jest and also in seriousness.
Yeah, like, no, we're really, got to make it. Gotta make it light.
Uncle Joe,
but
cancel the student loans. Uncle Joe, cancel the student loans, sir. If you think, I'm telling you, if you think it's worse now, his poll ratings are under 38% of approval. Just imagine once the student loan payments come back into effect with everything that's going on right now, with all the high prices and everything that's going on.
Yeah,
but I feel like as a society, our memory is short as well. Like, in this
we are.
Something's gonna happen, and it will be like, huh, that happened, like, huh, and it's like, yeah, that happened. So he might survive it. I don't know. Like, do you guys think that he's really going? No, or do you think he's going to go?
I don't know. We're gonna feel it. We're gonna feel it.
He's gonna go do what? What are you trying to say that he's gonna go do?
Is he going to run again? Sorry, my brain is a little slow this week.
I think he will run again because I don't think they have a real strong secondary contender. I don't think, and that's just me, the way that Kamala Harris has been presented or even interacts with the public has never been something that people
She's
love.
around?
Huh? Yeah, it's like she would be the second best to do, or like this is like kind of when you have a VP, they technically have to do it, but for some reason she just hasn't polled well with the audience. In black, white, indifferent, nobody really like vibing with Kamala like that. Nobody really,
because I felt as if that she had a difficulty with the overall when she was running herself. And I think she had that blunder. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was a blunder she had that really kind of took her out the game completely a little bit. And then her being on, people expected, because you got to remember, let's go back to Barack Obama, right? First Black president, Black community has a big hopes on him. And the Black community has said, hey, we don't feel like Obama moved our initiatives forward. And so people are a little bit more wiser in terms of like looking for their Black constituents to actually get something out of electing these officials. But the Democrats have historically been falling short on their end of the bargain of the things that they say that they want to do for the people that vote for them. Now, I don't know about the other side as much, but I do know on this side, people feel gypped. And so she hasn't been around and her voice have not been heard the way that they thought that her being in that post was going to do anything. But that's historically for VPs, right? Like, that's not something new. But I think, again, people kind of feel like, well, you're not really for us. You're not really down for the cause anyways. And so we haven't heard from you. We don't know what's going on. And here's all these issues that you guys ran on. And we are stuck on the middle of the ground of getting nothing. So that blunder she already had on her little record. And then now people feeling that she's not necessarily being a voice. And she doesn't have the weight that she probably thought, or the administration thought she would be able to have, essentially to garner approval for Biden. I just don't think that she's that type of candidate or that type of leader, where even Obama, when people didn't like him, he has that personality that still was able to kind of rally the troops. And I don't think she has the capacity in that particular methodology. Doesn't mean she's not great at other things, but I don't know if she'll be able to rally the troops.
Yeah.
See, but the thing is, the misconception of VP and their actual job description, what they actually do, is it's not really educated among the masses. Because when you think about it, when she won, we were all in horror for soror and for her being a woman, her being a minority. Her being a minority. I'm saying soror because she's I think she's, don't get me wrong, I don't want to say, I think she's AKA, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, you don't even know what she is. I thought she was part of your Soul Wars.
No. She's not my organization.
No, not your organization. In the
Greek.
Can you tell the people about what that is, anyways? Because there's somebody listening right now. I have no idea what you're talking about when you say Soul Wars. Give us a brief. You don't have to go into hazing mode. Just a brief.
No, so
and you guys don't haze. You guys don't haze.
No, we do not haze at all. So when it comes to Greek sororities and fraternities, this has been going on for over hundreds of years. So most of us are 100-year-old by now. So it's called the Divine Nine, sororities, fraternities on HBCUs, which is historical Black colleges. And the inception of these sororities fraternity is, for the most part, predominantly white schools have very organized organization that we were excluded, not only from the institution, but also excluded from these organizations because we were Black. So once the HBCUs start coming into effect, we decided to create our own Divine Nine. You have AKA, Omega, Iota, Accord, Zeta Phi Beta. There's just so many. We call them the prestigious, Divine Nine on the Black sorority and fraternities. And if I'm not mistaken, Kamala is under Alpha Kappa Alpha, which is AKA, which is the first
she's an AKA.
Black. Yeah, which is the first Black sorority under the Divine Nine. And then, of course, years later, there have been others. But there were just so many things in terms of layers and such that she's been under. Not only she's a minority, but she also graduated from HBCU, if I'm not mistaken. And then there was, she's under the Greek Nine, which is the sorority that she's with. So there's a lot of that. And I remember that push, like we were proud, the first woman minority VP, and we just thought like all these expectations, similar to, you mentioned a good point, Lovely, to Obama, where it's the first, Black president, but our expectation didn't really underline like the masses of what that job really entails, right? A lot of people argue that Obama didn't do anything under his administration specifically for Black people. And contrary, there have been laws and things that he has put in effect that help with the Black community. But again, people don't feel like it was enough, right? Mm-hmm. I think the expectation of that is similar to Kamala. And of course, it's stronger because she's a woman, and how she come across is very, like straightforward, assertiveness, like being very assertive. So there's a lot of that, but I think similar to Obama, like the expectation of that was just, no one can feel that. I feel, even her, she couldn't feel that.
Yeah, I'll jump in and say, I'll say this, like once she crossed, I guess spring 1986, you could find that on Google, as well as from Howard University, home of the Bisons out there in Washington, D.C. So I do see the representation and also the pressure of being, the first, I guess, woman in that high of a seat. And there is something to be said about that. But I think the biggest gas with her entire tenure is actually her own personal demeanor. It's always been the same. Even on the campaign trail, she's very caustic. She's very like, I don't want to say dismissive, but she's very much like a snarky person. So her response are very snarky. And that's where she either gets a lot of praise and also a lot of people kind of like, nah, I'm good. Because, you can only do that so much until somebody's like, is that the only stick that you have? And I think that's her biggest mistakes here, is the fact that when she's been gone, a VP typically have to just do like these like rounds, fly around and kind of represent the president when he's not there, when they, like
international affairs.
Yeah. They just show up, because, hey, you need a representative that's the American, but not necessarily the president, whatever. So she's there and she's having conversations, and you could tell that even what she says, sometimes she comes off, her of lack of empathy for a situation, even for immigration and south of the border. That was a big situation for her. And even in the responses with the Russian-Ukraine stuff, she just literally seems like she doesn't have the empathy for the job, versus that other prior VPs like Biden, fault or not, but people like him because he was just sound like,
that's an unfair comparison.
No, they're like, he's Uncle Biden, what I'm saying? He's like, he's good humored. But she's not good humored. It's not an unfair comparison. This is just what
it is, because I think we're doubling down on her because she's a woman. So
that has nothing to do with her being a woman.
No. Listen
what
I'm saying.
And be a guy. Go ahead.
Right. But I think how the perspective is taking is that either she's too assertive, or she's not assertive enough, or she's not soft enough. You say empathy. So let's say she was perceiving that, like applying that empathy, oh, she's too soft now. So where's the line, right?
There
And
is a
you can't
line,
really
and I think,
compare,
and it's not to compare anybody with somebody else, but even for
because she's
example,
the first one, though.
Obama was one of the presidents with the highest, I guess, drone kills, right? But he comes off a very empathetic to people in conversation. It's just a personal trait, and then you're right. It's not to say that it's just not her, and because that role requires that much of it, of being an empathy, I think that's where she's falling short of. It's not a critique of her as a person. She's, highly successful. She's highly decorated. She's gonna go down in history no matter what I say. Like she is, beyond reproach. But when we think about the position of vice president in any role, in any capacity, that role itself has to be one of just kind of like people. It's like a external face, right? Lovely, as a business owner, external faces.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think that that's what I was saying earlier. Like Kamala hasn't performed well in that way, and I agree with Atlanta in the sense of her saying that because she's a woman, she's going to be judged more harshly because of it. But that's never been her strong suit. She's never been the person the leader that you would look at and you're like, yeah, I definitely want to have lunch with her, right? You might look at Obama like that, and that's why I mentioned him. Obama has the capacity to rally the troops. He's always had. Obama's the shooter that you sent out, that, like Lauren said, he's done all these things, but it gets kind of like not as much in society looked at as Obama's so like a dictatorial, he was so strong, because his persona didn't come across that way. So if you would match his record, people are like, Obama did that, Obama sent all them drones. Like, you sure it was really him? Yeah, that was him. That was him. He's a shooter. He's a start shooter. He's the type of person that can come to your house, stole all your things, and you helped him steal it, okay? Because he has...
And you helped him steal it.
Well, that's how you feel.
Shoot. Wow.
Obama, for real, like Obama's the type of person that, because of his personality, like, you know how those there's a Haitian thing like like they're doing something wrong to you right in front of your face and you wouldn't be able to tell,
right?
Because of just his personality. Not to say that he would, I'm saying that he has that capacity, and that's why I'm saying that she does not have that type of capacity as a leader. Does not make her a bad leader, but I see that being a problem, because when you are in recession that's exactly why Obama won. We have to understand when Obama got voted. We're coming off of the heels of a heightened recession. We want change. Change needs to happen. And if everything that we see on the writing of the wall right now is that, I don't see those two having the capacity to rally the troops, because they don't have the likability factor. And no matter how much you want like, I had a call with someone recently, just to give an example, and we started the conversation, and it was a really tough conversation to have. But one thing she came off like, she's like, lovely, I'll do this for you. I know that I'm not supposed to, but I will. But I know that it's because I'm very personable, right? If I came on the phone very rah, 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 I wasn't going to get what I wanted. Like, I wasn't going to get the outcome that I wanted. Well, the politics is the same way. We're going to be coming off of a hill of a very tough economic season for our country, no matter within the next 2 or 3 years. Does that ticket have the capacity to rally the troop and have people draw near and, like Lauren said, using that term, empathetic? I just don't think that they have it in them. I'm not saying that they're going to lose. I'm saying if they get another ticket that has that Obama effect, likability, they're not winning, because these things really matter. And I think as a woman, she has a tough position, because I deal with that all the time. Like, when you're a CEO and you're a woman, people expect you to be a certain type of way. But because I also know that I do maneuver differently in certain instances. And so sometimes you do have to lean into the thing that people are saying is your weakness and make it your strength. And I think for her, maybe her personality trait is like, nah, I have, I'm going to give you that quick comeback. I'm going to be strict. I'm going to be these things. But we have to understand as a society that's going to impact her, whether we want to be honest about it or not. Like, it's just going to impact her. I just feel like it will. It has already.
Yeah, I think something that anybody could take away from this conversation is that for all of us, we have a way that we deliver a message. And sometimes the way that we think it comes out, it might be completely different. than how it is received. For example, for myself, I don't think I come across as very empathetic 9 times out of 10.
No.
Yeah. And I'm fine with that.
Not.
Hey,
no.
Wow.
Like,
can we not? Can we? Whoa! Can I get somewhere?
No, you're not even let you land in this plane because you don't.
What the heck is this? No. I was trying to finish this statement.
We gotta crush you right there.
Hey, I'm just saying that for anybody that's listening, you do have to understand where do you fall on the spectrum, and sometimes it's not anything to do with being against you. It just might not be your strong point. And to something that Lovely talks about all the time, especially as a leader in business or, founding your own business or small business, is sometimes you got to recruit the other people around you to do that task. Or, for example, one of those things that people don't know, Barack Obama was a great orator. Doesn't mean that he was writing his own speeches. He had a great speechwriter. He had an insane team. One lead speechwriter, but he has a team that understood how to project the best of him out to the audience. And as far as even marketing him out, getting him on news talk shows, whatever it was.
Letterman.
He was the only president, at least, in recent times, that was even out as much as possible on the covers of every magazine. He was doing press talks, whatever it was.
Obama had the best communication marketing team I've ever seen of any politician.
And that's part of the game. And for me to even listen and say, oh yeah, it's just because she's a woman, I'll say no, she's not, because we could also say maybe it's because she's Black. Maybe she's just we could always go around to what minimizes us, but in truth, maybe it's just that part of her that might not be, for that job, but maybe she leans into that team and the team gives her, a script to read on, or maybe she works on, in those big meetings, how do you project yourself and what do you say in that moment? So she's not leaning into her natural tendency of the snarky and maybe a little bit more into the, hey, pleasantries, whatever, at least for that moment. Not to say that it's going to change her, but it's just like us. We have to be able to kind of pivot or code switch, as we used to call it, into getting the jobs, getting the position, getting through these interviews and getting through those moments, because that's what matters. So it's not, it goes beyond just that.
And let's be honest here. I get the shift that everybody wants to think about, right? Where, well, as a woman or as a Black person, why do we have to do this? I'm going to tell you this. I've watched white people code switch. I've watched them be in a group together, have this dynamic going on, and the VP walks in and they shift their conversation. It's not only women and people of color. Do we get more harshly judged? Yes. Do we have all these other stuff that happens to us a little bit more? Yes. However, it's a people thing. I've been talking to this girl. She does all the word, copy, what you call copywriting for Apple, Google, all the major tech companies. And they pay her a lot of money to get the words right on the app or on, a thing that they're sending out, because there's such a psychology about communication. And I'm realizing that all of us in the society that we live in, everything that we need to do, you need to learn how to be a great communicator. You need to learn how to bring things, be more magnetic, because it makes a difference on so many different things. Not saying that, like Lauren's saying, no one's saying for you to go change who you are. But if that means that she needs to get that person to come coach her, get her to be reframed or repositioned in the market so that they could get to the next level, you just have to do what you have to do. Because sitting around and saying it's unfair, after that, it'll still be unfair and you'll still be in the same position. But if you pivot just a little bit to then make ways or to make things differently, then that's what options that you do have. And that's something that I'm learning. With everything that's been going on, it comes down to you have to change the methodology if you're approaching this way. Because the outcome you're looking for, without the change, you won't get it. And so we just need to be able to be self-aware to understand how these things play a role. And you'll be surprised why somebody wins over somebody else. It could have just been because they walked in the room and they shook hands. Obama's that person. Like I tell y'all, he could have been stealing everything in your house and you would have been helping him pack the stuff because he has that capacity. He just does. And like Lauren said, he didn't write every speech. It's not like he was out here writing everything, but he knew how to deliver it. He knew how to pause. He had that facial, like he was amazing at what he does in terms of speaking. Obama could have made you make decisions that you didn't want to make. What you think about them later? Like, yeah, dang, he did tell us to burn tires. Like, why burn the tire? That's not smart. But that's the capacity that he had. And I think that there's something to be said to be able to get something from that and understanding how do we use that. And Kamala can learn. She can. I don't think it's anything wrong with saying that she might need to shift just a little bit so that she can make the impact or the waves that she wants to make. Because somebody can argue, well, if she was a man, she wouldn't have to. And I'm arguing and saying that I've just seen a man that had that level of caliber with the country. No matter how people felt about Obama, Obama's ratings are still high. As much as people complain about what happened, the Black community, poll Obama, it's going to be high. He's going to get 60s, 70s because he mastered that as a leader. Let's talk about Hitler for a moment. Hitler was horrible, right? In so many ways, did horrible things. But he was able to rally troops of people to do some things that they should have never been doing. So there's something to be studying about leaders that have that capacity, those messagings. What were they doing? What happened? And that's why, like, I'm a good student of history in that way, is to understand, like, how did somebody get away with this? What was going on as a society that we allowed these things to happen? And so we could talk about the Trump effect in so many different ways. The leaders need to realize that there is something about rallying troops, getting a nation to come under one mission and move forward is really imperative. I don't know if this ticket's going to have the capacity to do that for them to win another 4 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
I was going to say this, that even, and I guess we're on this Obama and critique whatnot. And even though we did loud over the things that Obama did well, we often forget that at the beginning, he was actually losing a lot of these elections. The first couple, I'm actually trying to find the details for that, but he actually lost a few elections before, and his speeches didn't come off right. I think even to a point where somebody even critiqued it and said his early speeches themselves didn't really have that buzz and that effect, and it felt a little bit like disconnected from the community. So he actually did study understanding. He took a step back, tried to figure out where he was, and then he went to the Black churches. He sat there, he understood how the language was being communicated and saw what worked, and he really endeavored to change how he developed his speaking. And I think that's when we saw him pop out of nowhere. It's not like he never existed.
Even putting the work.
It's like it's a person that is commensurate with putting some level of effort and work. And I think that's what we need to take away from this, is you could get to where you're going to get. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're blessed, sometimes you're fortunate, and you're going to get to a high level. But it doesn't mean that we still can't learn, and we still can't change, and we still can adapt a certain strategy that could make us better. And in that situation, like even if you're not Kamala Harris, and if you're not Obama, if you're not anybody, in that level of capacity in the political sphere, and you're just at home, or even your local community, you can learn to be a better speaker, a better communicator, even to the point that Warren Buffett, the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, he actually said it himself, the number one skill you need to have in the 21st century is communication. If you can nail that, you can nail anything. And I think that's why we're seeing teachers becoming ultra wealthy on platforms like social media, either TikTok, IG, and so on and so forth, because they've been seasoned like veterans of communications when they had to communicate with groups of students all day, every day. That is a lot of experience. That's a lot of logged in hours of a lot of attention spanning. And let's say if you're teaching anybody 6th, 7th grade, or even the 3rd grader, you have all the skills to teach the rest of America, because we're all reading at the 3rd grade level. So it is what it is. And I'll land there.
That is very much true. And the feedback that the copywriter sent to us, she's like, this is at a 9th grade level. You need to dumb it down.
As wild as it is, it's something that you need to consider and understand that your audience might not have the bandwidth, the time, because everybody's living these very stressful lives. And we talked about it multiple times, and people just don't have the time to get into your deep thoughts. They just want to get some good information they can hopefully use, or those aha moments so they could come back to. And the goal for you to do it in any level of leadership and communication is you have to give them just enough that they come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not coming back to you, then you're not doing the job right. That's the same thing if you're selling, like, I don't care if you're doing hair. I don't care if you're selling food, whatever it is, you got to give them just enough of the good stuff that they always say, you know what, I need to go back to that person. And that's how you change your own personal finances, especially as, the world enters into high inflationary prices or even a recession. And I think that's where we can land in this episode. I don't know. I dropped some knowledge. I feel good about myself.
Oh, wow.
Atlanta was okay, I guess.
I am here. I'm taking notes because I'm trying to see how to title this. We went all over the place.
Yeah, where did we? Well, with that being said, thank you so much for listening to the Financial Griot Podcast. This was a beautiful episode. We started off a little bit, riding the wave. Lawrence was on 100. I think me and Atlanta were on maybe 4 and 5, and we made it through. So thank you for listening. And as always, just do something actionable. Take steps. Things in life are never going to be perfectly anything, but be able to use what you can learn, what you need to improve on to be better. And you're freaking alive if you're listening to this, and that's a gift in itself. That's my 2 cents.
My 2 cents is very simple. I actually just kind of lost it because you got real deep. My 2 cents is that, hey, instead of just sitting on the sidelines, people watching, make sure that you're taking lessons, understanding what those things are, incorporate them to your life. Because it's not just about talking about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. It's about understanding, I guess, his emotional capacity at the time, and maybe considering your own emotional capacity, especially after 2 years of a pandemic, 2 years of struggling, 2 years of not being around different people, and maybe not even processing all the trauma that you might be going through. So it's not just about laughing and looking at somebody else and say, ha ha, I see what that person did, but it's also to turn back around, look in the mirror and say, you know what can I do to make myself better so I don't react in the same way, so I could learn something from it and I could grow as well. And that's where I land, and I'll pass it over to Atlanta.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another great episode of TFG, the Financial Griot. As everyone has stated and alluded, we just want the best for you. And sometimes taking those resources, looking outside of ourselves to see how can I level up? How can I become the best of me? And we need to do that is by tapping into the things that will actually help us. So this is where we are, and this is how we landed. You can find me on the IG streets at Atlanta, ALAINTA_Elson. It can be found in the show notes, just as everyone here on the podcast. Once again, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe and share with a friend of a friend. TFG, we out.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot Podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.